Alright, so this is just a quick look at what I've got so far. It's very early, very rough. A lot of the art is placeholder or it's just bad. And most of this is really just about getting the basic systems up and running. I wanted to build something that I could actually move around in, even if it's ugly, and yes, it's ugly. The goal here wasn't polish, it was more momentum. I've learned that sometimes you just have to get something working on screen before you can figure out what it's even supposed to be. But to be honest, even that hasn't been very fast. I've been wrestling with RPG Maker MZ pretty much the entire time. It's a weird engine. It makes some complicated stuff incredibly easy, like dialogue, systems, events, cutscenes. All that's a breeze. But then things that should be stupidly simple are suddenly impossible, or they take 4 times longer than they should because you're fighting with these baked-in limitations. And that's been the most frustrating part, trying to make this thing do what I know it should be able to do. The oblique projection perspective, probably a mistake, but here we are. I like it. I wanted it to feel like EarthBound. With that said, the reason I keep coming back to RPG Maker is because of how fast I can prototype with the event system. It's just really satisfying to throw something together and see it work almost immediately. At least when it actually does work. I did spend a couple of months messing around in Godot and GameMaker before this. I actually really like how Godot handles a lot of things. It's smart, it's flexible, the node system makes a lot of sense. I do have a little bit of a programming background. My first degree was in computer science. Once upon a time, I could code to some extent, right? But these days, it's not something that I really enjoy doing. I can still do it a little bit, but I just don't want to. I'd rather focus on the design or the writing or the world, even if the art looks like it was, scribbled on the back of a napkin. I've only got a few maps built so far, some basic interactions, and a very rough evented battle test, which is the garbage sorting scene. I used the Mog Battle HUD plugin for that, and I modified it a lot, but it was a mess trying to get that to work. It took way longer than it should have. Making games, even in RPG Maker, is not easy, especially if you're trying to bend it into something that it wasn't initially built for. Right now, the part I've probably enjoyed most is just coming up with the character designs and the weird NPC dialogue, stuff that feels specific and kind of personal, but still ridiculous. The game's tone is absurd, but a lot of it's based on things I've actually experienced in Korea, so even when it seems out there, there's probably some kind of real moment behind it. I've been in Korea a long time, and while I know the culture pretty well, there are always these little moments, things that throw you off, or interactions that feel awkward or surreal, and stuff that people who've lived here will probably recognize immediately. I think a lot of expats might get the most out of this game if there are any that ever play it, but hopefully it still makes sense, or at least it makes vibes, even if you haven't lived in Korea. As for the future, I don't know. The game might never get finished, but statistically speaking, I usually crawl across the finish line eventually, even if it takes me a few years. I usually finish stuff, and it may not be great when I'm done, but I think it'll get completed eventually. Anyways, that's where things are right now. Maybe I'll have a short gameplay sample or teaser trailer of some other stuff later on, just something to show the tone and the direction. Anyways, this is where things are at right now. Thanks for checking it out.